I would like this to be more of a conversation than a presentation. So I don't want you to feel like you have to be still and quiet, and I recite, and I stop, and you clap, and you stop clapping, and I recite some more, and you're still quiet, and I stop, and you clap, and you're still, and you don't have to do it that way. If you're into that type of thing, you know, but I mean, I would like it, since I've gone all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, and I've heard all the poems before, and you being here is the only thing that's making it special. It would be nice for me if this was more of a conversation than a presentation. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns?
Are you Republican or Democrat?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Say it one time. What's that?
I'm trying to work out if you're Republican or Democrat. Are you?
I'm a Muslim
God, man.
So what brought you towards Islam? Was it like knowing the fact that the slaves from Africa were originally like Muslim or something?
I'm going to repeat your question out loud so everybody can hear. He asked me what brought me to Islam. Is it because that traditionally the slaves that were brought from Africa, that Muslims were Muslim? For me, myself, I was born Muslim, so I didn't have that conversion experience. But my parents converted to Islam, and they converted during the time of a mass migration of black Americans into Islam. During the 50s and 60s, it was a popular movement among black people in America. So if you think like Malcolm X and that era, they were part of that movement into Islam.
I was going to ask you about how you started to put poetry, but I was on the internet before and I got the answer to that. All I'll ask is, when you recite your poetry, what are you hoping to achieve from amongst the people? What do you want them to get from it? What do you want them to do?
The brother asked, when I'm reciting my poetry, what do I hope for the people to gain, and what is the effect that I'm hoping to have?
Yeah.
Really, for myself, the first thing that I concentrate on is trying to be as sincere as possible in expressing myself. So that's the first step, for me to be sincere myself, even before I think about the effect with other people. And my objective is grown and developed over the years, and even in different settings I may have different objectives depending on who I'm speaking to. Just like in regular speech, depending on who you're talking to, it affects the objectives that you're seeking to obtain. But generally, I would like to bring people and remind people of good and love, and to free them of hatred and fear. If I were to say generally what the objective would be. And that human beings, that we're all struggling, all kinds of different people in all kinds of different ways. Everyone in here, if we were to really speak even more openly than is comfortable for us, then we'll find that everyone in here is fighting a battle. Everyone in here is in a fight for their life about something. It may be emotional, it may be political, it may be criminal, it may be whatever, but everyone in here is in a fight for their life. And once you realize that everyone is in a fight for their life, it increases you invariably in compassion. Because everyone is suffering, man. Everyone is fighting tooth and nail. That's why in the poem I say, I try to inhale the dreams and exhale hope. Oh, I found that the same thing that pulls the theme to the pipe. You guys see the word theme here?
Yeah.
You guys know what that is? Yeah, like an addict. Same thing that pulls the theme to the pipe is the same thing that pulls a human being to the light. The love of love, a means to cope. So I try to inhale their dreams and exhale hope. So if you can give someone some relief in their suffering, alhamdulillah, that's enough. Sisters, I'm not ignoring you unless you guys don't want to talk to me. Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
How long have you been writing poetry?
I've been writing poetry most of my life, since I was a kid. Like I was 10, 11 years old, something like that. And I started doing it publicly. There was a coffee shop in the town I used to live, in Rochester, where I'm from. I used to have a Tuesday night open mic. And I used to go to the coffee shop and recite. I started doing that when I was about 14 years old or so. So I've been doing it for a long time now. Yes.
Would you being a poet and a Muslim and from New York, how have the people of US or New York in particular, have they accepted you? And how do you feel when you're on stage and you meet different people from different religions, etc.?
Right. The brother asked us, being a Muslim and a poet and from New York and from the U.S., how have the people of New York and the U.S. accepted me? And how is it when I speak in front of people of different religions and things like that? MashaAllah, Allah is very kind, and I'm always very welcome. I've never been in a place where I was just unwelcome, you know? Or that my poetry was unwelcome. And even from the hip-hop tradition, Islam has always been mentioned in hip-hop from the very beginning. So the name Allah, Assalamu alaikum, all of these things, from early in the late 70s, these things were mentioned because of that mass migration of black people into Islam. Even though all the black people weren't Muslim, particularly in New York, everyone knows about Islam, and generally everyone respected Muslim people, particularly Muslim men, Muslim women as well, in the realm of hip-hop, the respect for the men who had, because what it meant to be Muslim, a black American Muslim, meant that you had knowledge and that you had discipline. Those were the two main characteristics that you say, oh, that person must be a Muslim. Or if he says he's Muslim, oh, he must have these characteristics. So when you are a rapper, even out of ego, you would want to present yourself as if you had knowledge. So, but this was an earlier day. Now in hip-hop, it's often to be dumb is become popular. But some time ago, not even that long ago, to have knowledge, to say I'm a person who reads books. I read this book, I read that book, and you be in your rap video with like books and stuff like that was popular. And so the people that were seen to have the most knowledge, the vastest knowledge, were Muslims. And so, you know, that even if a person wasn't Muslim, they would have that language and that expression. So, but when I came as a Muslim, there was always initially off top a level of respect. And I have to give gratitude to Allah and to my parents and people of that generation, because they're the one that established that among our people, that this is the character of a Muslim person, and until the Muslim people became recognized that way. Yeah.
Is that perception of Muslims still there?
He asked, is that perception of Muslims still there? Yes, but not as strong as it was before. Among black people, because it's become a movement politically and in the media to like foreignize Islam. So black people have been Muslims in America for a long time, you know, established masjids and all of that for longer than I've been alive. So people saw Islam as an indigenous religion. This was like a black people's religion, like the original religion of black people. So it was never seen as like a foreign and imported invasion religion. But then when things began to change, and then the cultural shift happened where it was starting to be presented as a imported an invasion of Islam from some other place, and clerics and fatwas and all of this stuff from other places, these strange people in other places. So that has affected somewhat the presentation of Islam in America. Okay, I got two questions here. Number one, who are my heroes, role models in today's society? I have many people that I look up to. I would say primarily, actually, it was a trip that I just got this, because primarily I would say my mother, actually. I'll be, and for the reasons that I just expressed in the poem. And as a kid, seeing my mother doing what she was doing, she's raising, 3 boys in Rochester, New York, and what that must have been like. I appreciated it then, but not until I had children did I see like how amazing how damn near supernatural it was, what she was doing. So she's my primary hero of people living today. And also my teachers. So Sheikh Mahi and his teachers, those people have aided me in coming to know Allah. And by watching them themselves take on the personage of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with such grace and such beauty and so generously. And so these types of people are among the people living today are great heroes of mine. It says, can you cover why it's so important to express yourself today, especially within the home, as most families don't actually speak about their emotions? Yes, Allah. This is a problem in families in general, and I think in religious families even. But no, I shouldn't say that. It goes back to what I was saying with the brother before. One, for us to have enough courage, one, to express ourselves. But that's not the bigger part of it. The bigger part isn't for us to be understood. The bigger part of it is for us to understand. To create a space for each other. Because like I said, everybody is suffering. So if you're a teenager or a young adult or a kid and you're going through something, for those of you who are parents, make a space for your children to express themselves. Because what is inside is going to have to come out. So it can come out in a healthy way, in a good way, in a way that actually benefits them. Or it may come out in a horrific way, in a way that damages them and the people around them. And also, on the other hand, young people, kids, teenagers, young adults, your parents are human beings too. And your parent is fighting a battle for their life. Your mother, you think your mother she has everything figured out. She doesn't have any problems. You think your father has everything figured out, doesn't have any problems. Your father, I can speak as a son and I can speak as a father, that everyone is in a fight for their life. So be kind, be soft with each other. The people that you love, be nice to them. That's really it. It sounds like something that you hear, like a solution from the Disney Channel or something, but it is. It's that simple. Like, be nice to each other. Be soft with each other. Because everyone is on the brink. Everyone is on the edge, you know? Everyone is having a difficult time with it. Life isn't easy for anyone, you know? So, the importance of expressing the emotion is big. And what's even bigger than that is creating a space that the emotions can safely be expressed by others, not just yourself.
Do you think that the expression culture within Islam in Britain maybe is a bit not progressive enough? Mm-hmm. And do you feel that the Americans, with artists and creatives like Erykah Badu or Jill Scott, are emancipating a lot of black women to actually really encourage the voice about what it is to be a contemporary woman? Do you think we need to be a bit more kind of progressive and a bit more kind of like, let's open up, let's have a chat, like you said, have that discussion to open up what we're all about?
What our brother was saying was that the English Muslim culture compared to the American culture, in that he's asking me, do you think the English culture needs to open up more and be more open to expression? And he named some artists like Badu or Gil Scott that are giving a voice to black women and making a space for them to express themselves. In my opinion, I'm a visitor here, so I can't tell you guys what to do, but in my opinion, yes, it would be good, to express so we know what each other's dealing with. Some of us are dealing with things that we just don't know. And maybe we could help each other. Or maybe it wouldn't be as bad as we think it would be to express it or to expose ourselves. And so, if that place is safe, and there's a safe place to do that, and a good way to do that that's good for the people and the society and everything, then definitely. And for black women, they don't need any help expressing themselves like that. They've got that well under control. So, as much as we can, to express and allow expression, to be able to speak and make a space to listen. Yes.
How do non-Muslims receive your poetry?
The brother asked, how do non-Muslims receive my poetry? And, is that me? What's that generally speaking, was this for you? Oh, that was for me? Not for you? Okay, generally it's very welcome, mashallah. Like there were some poems that I wrote, like Danger, for example, right? And even when I'm writing this poem, I'm like, man, this is gonna go bad. And I'm like, this is gonna end my career. But, oh, thank you. But, just one? What's on the other one? But, mashallah, like, Allah just keeps facilitating, opening doors. Not so much opening the doors, but opening people's hearts, you know, like, people just receive it. Like, no matter how crazy I talk, they still invite me and stuff. And I do, there's all kinds of places, so like the ambassador of such and such a country. I was in Sweden at the ambassador's house. He asked me to come and have Ramadan dinner, recite poems. Like, why would you like me to recite poems? I write my poems. I don't know how it happens, but it keeps happening, mashallah. So all kind of different places in different parts of the world, different parts of society, from everything from, you know, like politicians, then like hip-hop artists to, you know, these type of people, Christian people. I've been invited to speak in churches, and you know, gays invite me with everything. Everybody. So mashallah, I come and do the work. Mashallah, it works out nicely. The question: where do you get your inspiration from? I mean, the short answer is from Allah. But you already knew that answer. But I don't know, it's just life experiences, things that I've gone through, things I see other people go through. But then sometimes it's just the language themselves, like a poem will come about something I'm not even thinking about. Like it's something that's not even on my mind, and a poem will just show up. And the language just starts coming, and I just write it down. Sometimes it's as arbitrary as that. So I don't know, I'm still actually trying to learn exactly how that happens such that I can have more mastery over it, so I can turn the inspiration on and off at will. But I still don't understand enough of it yet, how exactly it works. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, please.
Would you do a tour with any non-Muslim rappers? Who would it be?
Would I do a tour with any non-Muslim rappers? And if I would, who would it be? I've toured with non-Muslims before. Quite a few different artists, poets. So he mentioned Yassine Bey, who's obviously Muslim, most definitely. But KRS-One is a Muslim, and Jean Grey is a Muslim, and I performed with all kinds of people from Kanye West to Stevie Wonder, and, you know. So it's not so much that I would want, and there's some Muslim artists that I want to tour with, not because I don't believe what they believe, I just don't think their stuff is good. I don't like it. So there's some non-Muslims, and I like what they do, and I like the effort that they put into their artistry and that they've perfected and mastered their craft. So it's it'll be more upon what I feel like what they're presenting to the people, not just the ingredients, but also the fashion, the way in which they're presenting it to the people. And if I felt like that vibe with me, then you know I would talk with them.
So who would be your preference?
Oh, so what would be my preference right now? What would I like to tour?
Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick's like a superhero. Kendrick Lamar, as an MC, he's like, yeah, he's on another planet. Yeah, he will be good, but I want to see myself touring with him though. He's probably my favorite like new rapper guy, by far. He's way ahead of everyone else. I'm sorry. I don't know, I have to think about that a little bit. I'm going to come back to that one. Remind me if I don't come back to it. Let me think about it a little bit.
The last poem of yours, what's it called? What's it called?
The last poem I did is called Truth Is. Oh, which reminds me. So that poem is called Truth Is. So that poem is found on an album called The Meccan Openings. And that album can be found on my website. And it's free. You just go there, click the thing, you download it, and it's free. And then following that album is another album called The Medinan Openings. And that's also on my website, and that's also free. You click that and download it. And after that, this year, I'm releasing an album called The Openings, which completes the trilogy of that series. And so that'll also be free, and I'll be releasing a day out of that.
There's a lot of wisdom in it.
Huh?
There's a lot of wisdom in it.
Inshallah ta'ala.
If you don't mind, I'll have to quote it.
I mean, yes, do as you will with it. Yes, brother.
I have a question about Sheikh speaking about Muslim poets from the past. But in today's world, there really aren't any besides
you English. You and Poetic really the only two out there.
Yeah, there's more. I think once what the brother was saying is that the Imam was speaking about the great poets of the past, and he was saying there's not many writing in the English language today. He mentioned myself and another poet named ACLU, who actually is my roommate. Did you know that? Yeah, we live together. Yeah. So who's actually my roommate. So, but there's others. But I think when we develop a like for example this space where people can come and recite poetry. But these spaces are rare. I know, especially here, I know these spaces are very rare, which one means you guys should support this type of gathering as much as possible, because I think you'll find a lot of benefit. The benefits that you're intending, the objectives that you're intending, and some objectives that you aren't necessarily intending, I think you'll find benefit. But the more the spaces like this, there's people writing in their bedrooms, and writing, poems under their pillow, but they just don't have a place to present them. It's not like the Muslims are publishing a poetic journal every year where young writers will come and submit their work, or that there's many places like this where a young poet will come or an older poet will come and present their work. So I think there's a lot more, but just once we develop more spaces, both in print and spaces like this, that the poets can come and present themselves, I think we'll find that there's more than we thought there were.
Can you ask the question, who's writing poetry here to everyone?
Oh yeah, are there any other poets in the building besides the one that we heard? Yes, we have one right here. And that's it? There's only, I don't even believe that.
Good question. You mentioned in one of your poems earlier on about Zionism. Do you have any poems related to the present situation of the state of the world when it comes to Muslims and how they are being treated, especially with Palestine, Syria at the moment, and what's happening with Afghanistan, Iraq, anything like that?
Which poem were you mentioning before? You said about...
You mentioned Zionism in one of them. I don't know, do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
The one before that.
About taking knowledge from people, whether they be Jewish or...
Oh yeah, that was the thing I was speaking about. Yeah, and I haven't mentioned Zionism in the poems, but what the brother's asking is, do I have poems about what's going on in the world as far as like Syria, Afghanistan, and things like that?
Just on a political level, do you actually do anything?
I don't think I have political poems. Well, I don't feel like they're political poems, but they're personal poems. And I have a poem called Danger. The beginning of it says, I'm not angry, I'm anger, I'm not dangerous, I'm danger. And it's expressing like this isn't my own personal angst. This isn't, I am not angry. It's not like saying I'm angry. I am anger, meaning I'm shouldering, carrying the anger of many other people that aren't necessarily myself. But it's not just about the Muslim world, huh?
The babies as well, that's quite good.
Oh yeah, the babies, yeah, babies about in Somalia, yeah. But I don't have those poems memorized in particular. But again, if you get online and you'll find this one called The Babies, which is I wrote after one of the massacres in Syria, one of the series of massacres that's happened in Somalia about the droughts and at that point, when I wrote that, the lack of attention in media coverage that I was getting because Amy Winehouse had died, and so there was a room in the press room for Amy Winehouse and Somali drought. Allah have mercy on her. Yes.
Do you have poems that you don't share that you keep just for yourself?
Did everybody? Oh, in another room, they didn't hear you. Do I have poems that I don't share that I just keep for myself? Not many, but there are some. Which actually just reminds me of another thing. That's why I have a book that I wrote called Love Nosis and Other Suicide Attempts. Can you take out one of those books for me? So I just published a book. Actually, in this book are a lot of the poems that I otherwise would not recite. But out of courage or foolhardiness, I don't know which one it is, I decided to publish so the whole world can read it. But this is, these poems are, these are love poems of I don't know exactly the words how to describe exactly. They're a kind of love poem. Some of them are being in love poems, some of them are broken-hearted love poems, some of them are spiritual love poems, some of them are sensual love poems, some of them are all that, all together in one. That's what this book is. And I only have 10, I just published this book, and I only have 10 of them here. So if you want one, I'll try to, I don't want to call it like a stampede. You know what I'm saying? But I only have 10, but they'll be for the brother with the billionaire, which is very appropriate because he's going to make me rich. He has a Billionaire Boys Club shirt on. Billionaire Beards Club. Fantastic. Where do people buy those?
Freeways.
That's Freeways? Oh, that's fantastic. Billionaire Beards Club. Billionaire Beard. All right, so the guy with the beard, you can't miss him now. The guy with that t-shirt, I'll hold on to this one. He has the books, so now there's 9 of them that he has. I recite one of them, actually. Or maybe 2 from that collection now. And the other thing about this collection of poems is that through our engagements with each other, relationships with each other, whether they be romantic or non-romantic, are ways that we're discovering our relationships with God and uncovering our relationships with God. And the intimate relationship has a particular power in expressing or exposing its love and its intimacy with God. And so that's really, that's why the poem, the name of the book is called Love Nosis and Other Suicide Attempts, is that in a way of suppressing the nafs, suppressing the ego, breaking the ego not getting what it particularly wants, and that as a means to gnosis, and that means the love, meaning the love between people and the divine complete love. So that's why the name of the book is Love Nosis and Other Suicide Attempts. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
You did a poem on the opening of Felicity House about Prophet Yusuf on him. I know you started it and you said you hadn't finished it, but I was just wondering if you could recite it. It was very daunting.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disappoint you. Because I haven't finished it, and I don't have it. Because I don't memorize the pieces until I've completed them. But she asked about a poem that I recited at the opening of Felicity House, that I wrote for Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The poem which she heard was a part of a larger epic poem that I'm seeking to write in his honor, but I haven't completed it yet. But with your help, your dua, inshallah, I'll complete it. Okay. I'm a dead man walking, a mute man talking, a blind man watching, my brothers die. And I've built all coffins, much too often, and it gets so dark when our mothers cry. I know more than I want to, but not nearly enough. I thought I was running for the love, but it just turned to be lust, and my trust in us was gullibility. The reality is just that I'm not who I was, nor who I will be. But sometimes I feel me visited, and I fill me with the lush scent of soul, the flavor of feeling, a rush of color. I think the pleasure may kill me. The pressure squeezes and spills me into the language of the unseen, the unthought, and the undreamed. In my heart begins to pump the thick, rich fluid of verse, searching for a simple word or phrase to fill the phase between the wet nurse and the black hearse. And I know sometimes my words lack worth, lack the depth, lack girth, lack the distance to travel from heaven to earth, or from mind to brain, or from soul to flesh. I hold my breath and I hollow hope that my hopes ain't hollow. It's just a message in a bottle, or a genie in a bottle, or a baby in the bottle, or wine on his bottle. This symphony of me is stuck in staccato like a broken breakbeat breaking the vinyl into bits of blackness, spinning in circles. Come down, selector. Last night the DJ took my life and left the speakers empty and the speakers speechless and the dancers still, dancing or not. They don't see our music as music, merely amusing amusement. How could they know in basement booths we balance the nexus between where the soul and the flesh is, where the science of intellect is? We rock jeans like a necklace and drop jewels in gutters. But they fooled our mothers into thinking that they could raise sons in the darkness of night. But isn't the night always dark before the sun is raised? And when the sun is raised, doesn't it make the block hot and the eyes squint? And the breasts sweat, and the trees grow, and the children play. The raised sun makes the pavement seas wavy apparitions, the mirage of future. But I know I'm a dead man walking, a mute man talking, a blind man watching. My brothers die, and I've built our coffins much too often, and it gets so dark when our mothers cry. So now I'm walking a thin line between love and hate, between words that are spoken and beats that break. There's a thin line between a bullet in the chamber and a bullet in the brain. I'm civilized, sane, a little savage in me. It's not a little savage in me, it's a lot of passion in me. And sometimes the soul rolls out of control without a glass of Henny, and some niggas are fine with being slaves just as long as master's friendly. And others think fire at master until the Mac is empty. You don't need to pass a second to see the assassin in me, but know that no soul is taken accidentally. The angel of death has an itinerary and snatch you right out of your Bentley, right out of your Gucci jeans, and right out of your Fendi, right out of your dashiki, right out of your Kenti. Allah has written in his book and is going to erase the pen's ink. So why do we ignore what God knows and run around with ink, which is boys in a back street trying to get in sync? But my balance is off. My talent is lost. I've married my art, but she's barren, of course, and I can hear in her voice that we're nearing divorce. So before I hear him get caught, I may have to kill my dreams and bury the corpse. I should have teared for the loss. I feel like I'm bearing the cross, but my conception is so far from immaculate. For the most part, we a bunch of bastard kids. Our fathers are gone, caught on a sacrosanct masochist because our lives are dead wrong, but resurrected like Lazarus because our mothers are strong. And our romance is about as romantic as the master's kiss, but we have got to move on. And our lives are about as painful as the master's whip, but we have got to move on. And I wish I could just sing for justice, but I know no such song. I know about Shahada, Salah, and Quran, jihad, martyrdom, and homemade bombs. And sure as that sound wrong for talking about homemade bombs, but a leader of the free world can drop 8 bombs and napalm and got a nerve to ask why do they hate us when they still got the blood on their palms? When they stayed long and sang songs about freedom and justice all bloody day long. They claim to live right, but they have got to be dead wrong. And me just because I'm so young and headstrong, but right now I'm ready to run headlong into enemy fire. It's like a desire death. I just got the same blood that pumps to a lined chest. I come from a line of warriors that take off their iron vest, unsheathe their sword and sprint to the thick of the mess. So I am begging them now, send me your best. There's only 2 possible outcomes. 1, I can send them to rest, or 2, they can send me to my Lord. I like the second one the best, but I will kill the killers and live and settle for less, because I'm already a dead man walking, a mute man talking, a blind man watching my brothers die, but I won't build our coffins, and I will not take part in the death of my heart's kin. I'd rather die.